4.5%. Tanzania 4.4%. Eritrea 4.5%. Cameroon 4.61%. Niger 4.89%. Africa 5.4%. Liberia 5.44%. Togo 6.8%. Uganda 6.8%. Ghana 29.8%. If the economic crisis we are witnessing today is attributable to COVID, why is it that countries around us are not experiencing the same or close rate of inflation? But look at what Ghana is doing. Mr. Speaker, it is due to mismanagement, crass incompetence, and nonchalance on the part of the managers of the economy of Ghana. Mr. Speaker, another important point. Assuming it is COVID and the Ukraine war that has pushed us to where we are today, I have a publication from Business Insider Africa have done is to list debt to GDP of all the African countries as at the end of December 2021. And unfortunately, Ghana is listed among the highest 20. In fact, Ghana plays the 8th highest in terms of debt to GDP. And Mr. Speaker, as we speak, Togo is doing 64%. Their debt to GDP is 64%. Burkina Faso 44.3%. Cote d'Ivoire 47%. And Ghana, as of December 2021, we were doing 83.5%. They are creating the impression that probably Ghana is the biggest enemy of COVID. Why should COVID skip all the countries around us and do this to Ghana alone? Mr. Speaker, Pierre Laporte, the country director of the World Bank, had already indicated that Ghana was on the path to destruction even before the emergence of COVID. Yes. So they are only seeking refuge in COVID and the Ukraine war to hide their incompetence. Mr. Speaker, the minister spoke about food security, that we have to put in place mechanisms to ensure food security in our country. That is a good idea. But Mr. Speaker, the minister himself, just on the 6th of July, granted an interview to Business Financial Times and indicated that Ghana is spending a whopping $2 billion on the importation of food to supplement local production. And then, Mr. Speaker, he added that a country like Ghana cannot survive without huge imports, and that there is a need for us to relook at our agricultural policies. Mr. Speaker, that's a fantastic idea. Clearly, this is an admission by the minister that the agricultural policies they touted all over the country have failed completely. Mr. Speaker, as we speak, Ghana's cocoa board is indebted to the tune of 12 billion cedis. And Mr. Speaker, they cannot even pay. They are even anticipating issuing long-term bills to the tune of 3 billion to be able to survive. $3 billion. Mr. Speaker, we gave them power in 2017. 2017, cocoa board incurred a loss of 161 billion. Mr. Speaker, 2018, they incurred a loss of 84.2 billion. Mr. Speaker, 2019, they incurred a loss of 326 billion. And 2020, they are reporting 426 billion. Mr. Speaker, what is even unknown is this. The law that established cocoa board mandated them to pay bonus to cocoa farmers on an annual basis. They claim that they are incurring losses and therefore they cannot pay bonuses to farmers. Mr. Speaker, 2019-2020, surprisingly, cocoa board paid bonuses to their staff. If cocoa farmers cannot be paid bonuses, what about the staff? So on this note, I would like to say that Ghanaians are suffering all over the country. Not because we don't have resources. We have the resources, we are sitting on it. Mr. Speaker, we've got that only for people to come and scatter everything. And that is why every Ghanaian, including the is suffering. Because his roads are not fixed and his people are attacking him. As if he's not performing. It is because of the government. You have exposed your leader to attack. Because of your incompetence. We have to defend him. Mr. Speaker, on this note, thank you for the opportunity.
Honorable members, it's now the turn of Honorable Stephen Amwa.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for this prestigious opportunity. Mr. Speaker, I would like to I would like to admonish my brothers and friends on the other side of the political divide to understand one fact. And the fact is, when it comes to financial economic management, it is not about propaganda. It is not about lies, because you are dealing with facts and figures. It is extremely astonishing that a ranking member who, God forbid, they get the opportunity to come to power, is likely to lead the economic management of this country as a finance minister. Is deceiving the entire country that we are poor managers of the economy. Mr. Speaker, surprisingly, they even got wet when there were no rains. I'm saying this because the time they were handing power to the new patriotic party under His Excellency Akufo-Addo, the economy of this country was growing somewhere around 3.2, 3.4. It is an established fact. Mr. Speaker, today we are growing higher than that, even with this global situation. Mr. Speaker, when they were handing power to us, interest rate in this country was hovering around 40%. It is a fact. Mr. Speaker, as I'm talking to you now, some of the banks are giving as low as 23%, even this situation. Mr. Speaker, policy rate under the NDC government before they handed power to us was 25.5%. Even with this situation, it is 19. You can move from one factor to another. Mr. Speaker, it is not about lies. The ranking member said that the statement never presented anything about the economy or English. I want to find out whether previously such statements are presented in Hausa, Dabani, Asante, or Ga. Mr. Speaker, the fact is that their experience from the communist inferior tactics is always making them unable to have alternative policies. And I'm just advising them. This is the statement, page 20. Update on domestic macroeconomic developments in 2022. So you did not even read it as a ranking member and you want to come to power. How? Mr. Speaker, the point I want to make again is that we accept the fact that there's hardship. We empathize with Ghanaians, but any honest person that reads the Bible and the Quran and is not deceiving Ghanaians understand the fact that the situation we have today is perfectly global. Mr. Speaker, US, which is the best economy in the world. Inflation rate post-COVID has been increased by over 320% from about 1.86 to 9.2. It is a fact. Mr. Speaker, as I'm talking to you now, United Kingdom, inflation rate has been increased by about 400%. Mr. Speaker, baby food shortages, even in parts of US. As I'm talking to you now, railway workers, aviation, judiciary, postmasters, they are on. As I'm talking to you now, doctors and teachers are now threatening the government, except those who are suffering from unconscious incompetence, who do not accept the fact that the situation we have are global. Mr. Speaker, the NDC government that they are making, they are producing all this destructive interference of rates. They are supposed to adopt contractional fiscal policies, which means is that they care about the poor. I keep on asking them, they can't answer me. What is the economic management policy direction? That none of the poor policies in Ghana, with the tenacity and the national character we need, they have not been able to do one. You know, because do you know why? When it comes to infrastructure, both NDC and PP mostly, and I repeat again, borrow. But when it comes to poor policies, you have to manage internal economic work, but they cannot. Anytime they are leaving this country into the hands of the MPP, they have a constant figure, around 3%. When they were leaving first, it was 10.7. Now 3.2. Interest rate was 52%. The fact of the matter is that between the NDC and the MPP, apart from propaganda and the communist inferior tactics, we are extremely far better than them. You care about the poor. Mr. Speaker, I want to ask the NDC, can you compare Okada to free school? Okada policy. You will let people ride bicycles before they eat. MPP government says that we will let them go to school. Which one do you prefer? We all know that we have crisis. Do they understand the fact that our economy is import driven? Do they know that? And once it is import driven, we depend on international markets. Even this situation in which we have been able to sustain almost all the poor policies. They could not. Even simple teachers and nurses allowance, because they failed to manage the economy well, they scrap them. Mr. Speaker, the fact of the matter is that the MPP government understands the management of this economy well. That is why yesterday we decided not to burden this house with any extra supplementary budget. We understand the game. We know what we are doing. We have been able to reduce that to GDP. Mr. Speaker, let me explain this to them. If they understand the economy, anytime any country's productivity is impaired unproductively, your GDP will not grow.
Yes.
You contributed to the problem we have in Ghana because of the seemingly balancing house. Any good policy of this government, you say you love Ghana. You say you love Ghana. Tell me, you are giving figures from mostly French-speaking countries. Please go and learn your economy well. Almost all the French-speaking countries do not have economic sovereignty. They derive that from the Central Bank of France. Go and check. So it is wrong to compare the two. You don't know your facts. Go and check. The fact of the matter is that, Mr. Speaker, even in this situation, you don't do this analysis. You do, that is why you have industry performance, continental performance, and global performance. Mr. Speaker, even it is expected as part of the projections of the world that we were supposed to grow 2.9 as a globe. Our projection is 3.7. And in Africa, it was supposed to be 3.6. Ours is 3.7. And you said that the very minister that before COVID was growing 7%. Inflation rate 7%. Interest rate came to 12%. Policy rate came to 12%. He should resign. Then for His Excellency, former President Mahama, respectfully, he shouldn't come again. Where are the Guinea fowls? Where are the Guinea fowls? So if you want somebody to resign, first, they should not bring former President Mahama. They will agree. But the fact of the matter is that under His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo, the management of the economy, translation of it into proper policies, so that most of you, your brothers and sisters, your cousins and children, are having free school under Nana. Are having free school. Put up your hand if your family member is not enjoying free school under Nana. God will ask you. God. 96% of my brothers and members are enjoying free school, and you are saying that we are not managing this economy well. Mr. Speaker, we are showing them within 2.5 years, all things being equal, the very good, best, better years of the economy are coming back. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity.
Honorable members, it's now the turn of Honorable Isaac Adongo.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. It's become very clear that the biggest job to do in this House is to defend this bunch of incompetent governors of our economy. And no matter how you shout, your minister only 2 days ago borrowed at 29.8%, and you are saying that people are taking interest at 23%. When your minister is borrowing at 29.8%, only yesterday. And when he was looking for 4.9 billion, he got only 1.1. The minister, as he's sitting here, he's confused as to how he get the money to pay them their money. And you're talking 1.1. So you are not even aware of what is happening in your economy. Mr. Speaker, I heard somebody say that the Bank of Ghana is giving overdraft and that the Bank of Ghana is not printing money. Why? Is the Bank of Ghana a deposit-taking institution? Is the Bank of Ghana raising money? The Bank of Ghana is obviously printing money and throwing at government. But what is worse is that, Mr. Speaker, the Bank of Ghana Act makes it illegal for it to give money to government beyond 5% of the previous year's revenue. And we are talking about cumulative borrowing. So from Adam up to yesterday, the total, you can borrow up to 5% more than your previous revenue. You are doing over 300% borrowing from the central bank. That is illegal. But Mr. Speaker, what is worse is that we are waiting for the IMF to come and help us. We signed an MOU saying that we will not borrow a penny. We will not borrow a penny from the IMF. We are going to do zero financing. Quietly, we are borrowing from the Bank of Ghana. Now that the IMF is here, what are you going to tell them? You are going to tell them that you only deceived them, but you did not intend to follow the zero financing arrangement. That is an indictment on the credibility of our country. And this is not a matter to be taken lightly. You can suspend the fiscal rules, but you cannot suspend the monetary rules, because there's nowhere in the Bank of Ghana Act that allows you to suspend monetary rules. But when you came to suspend fiscal rules, you went and suspended the monetary rules. That is illegality, Mr. Speaker. The minister was here yesterday. He said that his income, his revenue has dropped from about 10 billion to 96 billion. That gives you about 3.7 billion drop in revenue. He says that his interest payment has increased from 37 billion to about 41 billion. Again, that gives him 3.8 billion. If you add these two, you get 7.5 billion. The minister had also forgotten that he promised COLA to workers. That COLA, if you calculate it or just without the entire compensation, works up to 4.6 billion. When you add that, you are getting a total, both in terms of additional expenditure and in terms of revenue shortfall, of 12 billion. And you are saying that you didn't come to ask for money. What else did you come to ask for? When you add that 12 billion to his 37 or 38 billion, you are getting a deficit of 49 billion. You are here asking for money. You are asking for money and saying that you are not asking for money. Mr. Speaker, if you are not asking for money, the 22 billion that you took from the Bank of Ghana, what did you use it for? It wasn't in your budget. You are indicating additional expenditures of 12 billion. You have taken an additional 22 billion that was not in your budget. And yet you are here saying that you didn't come to ask for money. Where did you learn that kind of mathematics? Mr. Speaker, this is a very serious matter. The truth of the matter is that these numbers exposes the Minister for Finance badly. And if he had any other intentions other than to scale back and hold himself and stay within the appropriation, the better. Because any expenditure above appropriation will be seriously scrutinized by the next government, and I will not be surprised if some people end up in jail. Mr. Speaker, they keep saying that it is Russia-Ukraine war, as if the bombs are landing in Ghana. Mr. Speaker, the Bloomberg poll report, which is profiling countries that are very close to default, put that at number 2. The Ukraine is where the bombs are landing. It's far away in number 8. Ukraine is far away in number 8. Even those receiving the bombs are better than you. And you are always crying about Ukraine war as if you have received one bomb. Please, it's lying at number 8. Those who are going to default, it will take a century to get to Ukraine. How for you, it can be tomorrow. And that is the problem you are faced with. Mr. Speaker, the problem we are faced with now is a group of people who have no clue as to how to manage the economy. When you advise them, they won't listen. When you tell them to review something to improve it, they say it is cancellation. Mr. Speaker, the whole world is looking up to you. As of yesterday, the capital market was waiting to see something tangible in this document. They are more confused than you yourself after you deliver this document. Because in this document, you are not telling them how you are going to bring back your capital market that is collapsed. You go to the market even as a government to look for 4.6 billion, you can't get it. You get only 1 billion. After you have enticed them with the highest interest rate of 29%, they say they won't give it to you. That is very serious. Serious liquidity challenge. You are almost heading towards insolvency, and you are still here trivializing this matter. Mr. Speaker, the international capital market, half of them, they don't want to hear our name. When you mention our name to an international investor, say you are enemies of our money, so they will not bring money. They are continuously downgrading us. The other day, you said that your net international reserve moved from 9 billion to 3 billion, and it became a debate here. You have never achieved net international reserve of 9 billion before. So that 9 billion was gross international reserves. And you move from a gross international reserve of 9 billion to a gross international reserve of 3 billion. You know that your offshore obligation for the year will wipe up the 3 billion. So you have no reserves. That is why in this document, Mr. Speaker, the minister does not mention the net international reserves. He only talks about gross. Because things fall apart. Cannot hold. Mr. Speaker, you have a government which is still keeping the man who have destroyed this economy. The man who has shown the highest level of incompetence in managing this economy to still continue to be the finance minister. Mr. Speaker, do we have a co-president in this country? Do we have a co-president in this country? Co-president, yes. It is the only reason you are still sitting there. Minister, move from that office and give Ghana a chance to resolve this mess. As long as you continue to sit there and everybody running away from Ghana, Mr. Speaker, our situation will worsen further. And not only are we now going to be hungry, we are now going to starve. Mr. Speaker, very soon you will not have money to buy fuel for your vehicle if the minister continues to sit there, because nobody is willing to give him money. On this note, Mr. Speaker, I like to call on my colleagues on the other side that I can see your mood is very bad. You are almost in a funeral mood. But there are good times ahead. Very soon the Minister for Finance will leave and Ghana will take its proper cloth and will assist you to develop Ghana. Thank you very much.
Honorable members, now the chairman of the Finance Committee, Honorable Akufo-Addo, will have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, first and foremost, I'd like to thank the Finance Minister for presenting to us in accordance with law the review of the 2022 budget statement as has been implemented so far. Mr. Speaker, what he presented to us was very clear. He informed this House that a combination of both external and domestic factors have conspired to create challenges for this economy. The Speaker, was he right or wrong? Of course he was right. He proceeds to put on the table for our consideration government solutions to these challenges, mindful of the fact that these challenges are not just in Ghana, but global. Mr. Speaker, again, was it the right thing to do? Of course it was. Our task as Parliament, Mr. Speaker, is not to jubilate. It's not to jubilate that our country is facing challenges, that the ruling party is on the defensive, and therefore we have achieved some political ends. Mr. Speaker, what shall it profit a man? Mr. Speaker, what shall it profit a man if you gain all the political advantage and your own country goes down? Mr. Speaker, we have seen this morning a selective use of data, especially from the minority, to create an impression of doom for Ghana's economy. What have Ghanaians done to us? Mr. Speaker, I agree with Honorable Akufo-Addo. I agree with Honorable Opoku-Bobie. I agree with Honorable Isaac Adongo that not all the factors are external. That is true. Oh, Eric Opoku, I'm sorry, Mr. Speaker. That, Mr. Speaker, not all the factors are external. I agree with them. Some of the factors are domestic, and the Minister did indicate that in his presentation to us. Mr. Speaker, it is those domestic factors that have been responsible for Ghana going to the IMF 17 times. Mr. Speaker, when we went to the IMF the 16th time, Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta was not the finance minister of this country. Mr. Speaker, in those 15 times, that as a country, we went to the IMF for bailout. It wasn't Nana Akufo-Addo who was the president of this country. So if today we have the opportunity to deal with a matter that has been worrying our economy for so long, why would people jubilate that the current government is on the defensive or the current government has indicated challenges to which we must all find solutions? Mr. Speaker, my own disappointment with the presentations I have heard this morning is that for the average Ghanaian out there, hoping that Parliament would be contributing to the solutions the minister presented, if necessary, improving those solutions, so that the people would know that as leaders we are fighting for them. Because they would watch us and see members of Parliament jubilate and cheer that the country is facing challenges. Mr. Speaker, we do not have any contribution to the revenue measures that the minister presented. The digitization agenda to reduce the human interface in revenue mobilization. Mr. Speaker, none of us has contribution to that initiative. Mr. Speaker, the expenditure rationalization measures, the cut in administrative expenditure that the minister presented, we do not have any contributions to them. Maybe as Parliament we should be asking ourselves, what is it that we ourselves are doing to contribute to the fiscal difficulties that has bedeviled this country for so long and that has taken us to the IMF 17 times. Mr. Speaker, we should be doing that soul searching. We should be doing that soul searching. Mr. Speaker, there are many expenditure rationalization measures in the minister's presentation to us. He has further assured this House that there are domestic measures that are forming the basis for government engagement with our development partners. Mr. Speaker, the least we can do is to wish the minister well, to wish the government well, and to expect that these measures would deliver the improvements we want. That the contributions we have had here, especially from our colleagues on the minority, have been completely disappointing. And it is my hope that as we go on, we will be more patriotic and focused on the solutions that will give the average Ghanaian a better life. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, we have a program starting at 1. We will have to suspend sitting, go and commence the program. Some of you will be with us, some will have to come back. My deputy will take over and you move to question time. We'll finish and come to continue with the comments, debate on the statement. So I will, yes, Minority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I can understand the management of your time, but I was going to plead if you can give the last 2 speakers from either side 5 minutes.
On either side?
I said either side, but I see that the majority leader is ready for a suspension. We can suspend. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yeah, because we have our partners already in and they are waiting on us. So it's better for us to go commence, and I want to urge all of you to be there. Just after some major statements from our partners, I think it will be proper for you to come to continue with the program, but with questions. After the program, I'll be here to continue with the deliberations on the statement. So with this, sitting is accordingly suspended. I'm reminded that Deputy could take statements too. We have a few statements, particularly from the Minister for Youth and Sports and our colleague from New Ejubiase, they have a statement on the, is it Commonwealth? Yes. So the deputy will take questions and statements. With this, I reiterate my earlier statement that sitting is suspended.